Powerful back-to-back earthquakes rocked Venezuela. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Thursday, June 25th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. Last night, just after 6 p.m., a 7.2 magnitude earthquake rocked the Venezuelan capital of Caracas. Just 39 seconds later, another 7.5 magnitude quake struck the same area. Both quakes were shallow, so they produced violent shaking and toppled several buildings. Here's how it sounded in Venezuela's main international airport in video from Reuters. Interim Venezuelan President Delcy Rodriguez said at least 32 people were killed and more than 700 injured in the earthquakes. She declared a state of emergency and said the electrical grid and water access had been affected in several areas. The disaster comes at a tumultuous time for Venezuela. The U.S. military captured President Nicolas Maduro in January. Since then, the U.S. has been working with Rodriguez, his vice president, to open the country and its massive oil reserves to more foreign investment. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in a post that the U.S. would send search teams and humanitarian aid to Venezuela. The Senate reversed course on Iran under pressure from President Donald Trump. That's our second story. On Tuesday, Republican Senators Susan Collins, Bill Cassidy, Lisa Murkowski, and Rand Paul broke with their party to pass a resolution blocking Trump from resuming the war with Iran. Trump was not happy about it at all. Online and at a closed-door lunch with Republican senators yesterday, he berated the 4 dissenting senators. Senator Cassidy, who recently lost his primary to a Trump-backed candidate, told reporters that voices were raised.
The president didn't want to hear my question, interrupted me. I didn't care to be interrupted. I felt like I was trying to get answers for the American people. And I'm not going to be bullied when I'm trying to get answers for the American people. And so it escalated from there. At some point, it de-escalated.
Trump complained that the Tuesday vote undermined ongoing negotiations with Iran over its nuclear program. Apparently, that argument was enough to convince 2 of the senators to change course. In another vote on a similar measure yesterday, Cassidy ended up flipping his vote, and Paul voted present. The resolution failed. The Wednesday vote was a defeat for Democrats who had celebrated the passage of the Tuesday resolution as a symbolic rebuke of the unpopular war. Number 3. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth intervened to thwart a top general's career. General Christopher Donahue is the head of U.S. Army Europe and Africa. A behind-the-scenes effort was underway to extend his career. But according to people familiar with the matter, that effort was stonewalled by Pete Hegseth. So Donahue submitted retirement paperwork and is preparing to step down on July 2nd after an unusually short 18-month tenure. Hegseth's move has exasperated some Army officials who consider Donahue a top warfighter. The general's expected departure makes him the latest apparent casualty in Hegseth's purge of senior military leaders who he considers insufficiently loyal to the Trump administration. Megadonors have poured more than $1.3 billion into this year's elections. That's number 4. In the first half of this year, Republican-leaning donors have given $880 million to their preferred candidates. Democratic-leaning ones have given $290 million. Billionaires and the newly minted trillionaire Elon Musk make up the top individual donors. In support of Republican candidates, venture capitalists Ben Horowitz and Mark Andreessen have given more than $90 million, Musk has given $85 million, and businessman Jeff Yass and his wife have given more than $83 million. One Democrat cracked the Post's top 10 list of donors by amount, and he sits right at the top of the list. That's billionaire investor and philanthropist George Soros. He's given $102 million to races this cycle. Organizations have also pumped money into this election cycle to advance their causes. They include the powerful pro-Israel AIPAC and the cryptocurrency companies Coinbase and Ripple Labs. Donor cash could prove critical for the GOP as it tries to maintain control of Congress in November. Number 5 is a Post exclusive. An internal memo ordered staff not to reveal deaths at national parks. An average of about 350 people die in national parks each year. That's according to Park Service data. This past weekend, there were 4 such deadly incidents, including a 23-year-old man who died after falling over a waterfall in Yosemite. But a memo issued in December has prohibited park staff and other Interior Department employees from directly notifying the public about these kinds of deaths or severe injuries. Officials say the new rule is meant to respect investigations and protect privacy. But current and former rangers say it breaks with the department's previous disclosure policy. And they say it makes it harder for staff to protect the more than 300 million people who visit parks each year by warning them about potential risks on public lands. Number 6. People of all ages are heading south. According to census data released today, the South's population grew by roughly 7.6 million people from 2020 to 2025. That's more growth than the rest of the country combined. It seems like several factors are pulling people to the region. Younger workers have been drawn to job opportunities in banking, tech, and pharmaceutical industries. Meanwhile, commuters are drawn to the feverish pace of development in counties near major metropolitan areas. And unlike the rest of the U.S., the South is growing its number of young people. About 304,000 more children were added to the population, whereas the number of young people in the Midwest, Northeast, and West declined. As fertility rates fall and baby boomers grow old, the South's rising population makes it an outlier compared to the rest of the country. And at number 7, the breakout stars of the 2026 World Cup are old, unknown goalkeepers. Okay, when I say old, I mean like 33. That's the age of Ghana's keeper Benjamin Asare, who saved 19 shots from England's superstars on Tuesday. In the tournament's first 2 weeks, keepers from African and Caribbean nations have repeatedly held back the teams of richer countries. It has turned them into instant and unlikely celebrities. Together, they have treated fans to a number of unexpectedly thrilling ties. As well as the Ghana-England draw, Cape Verde tied Spain and Uruguay thanks to 40-year-old keeper Vizinha. The DRC tied Portugal, and Curaçao tied Ecuador. Who said soccer was boring? These draws have led to several small nations scoring their first ever points in the World Cup. This year, the tournament expanded from 32 to 48 teams. That sparked concerns about unprecedented mismatches. But these heroic underdogs, who are kind of old but not that old, have proved otherwise. Today, the U.S. play Turkey. The U.S. have already won their group and secured their place in the knockout round, but they still have a chance to make history. The American men have never won more than 2 games in a World Cup. All right, you're all caught up. Sign up for the 7 newsletter if you haven't already, which lands in your inbox early every weekday morning. Today's stories have some great graphics and visuals, impossible for me to describe to you through the medium of a podcast. So find a link to our newsletter in the show notes, or just Google the 7 Morning Briefing from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. I'll meet you back here tomorrow.